think I need to switch on to the USB. I think now it's clearer, probably better than earlier on the sound side of it. Is that correct? All good? Okay, so we shall start. Welcome to Wednesday's Bretton webinar. And this is your midweek webinar. My name is Kenny Simon. Today is the 14th of July, 2021. So on midweek Wednesday's webinar for our members at Bretton, we usually go over trades that has actually been executed or trade ideas and trade signals that has been shared by myself. And in this way, we could actually monitor trades, whether or not it has hit your SL, hit your TPs, or didn't actually got triggered, and various other things. And we want to look at that. So I think it's probably best for us to start off with Gbp Nzd and a few others as well, Gbp pairs, just to look at oil as well as gold and various other things and look at how it is actually progressing. And then we'll go back into new, fresh trade ideas and trade signals as well by looking at the fundamentals, what's going on and stuff like that. So let's get going into Gbp Nzd first. And here, basically, as I've shared as well, that the price as of now is trading at 1.9705 area. So it's just gone past the 1.9700, but as you can see, it is still in the buy zone, but the current candle at this moment of time, I'm looking at the weekly chart, is heading to the downside, but it hasn't really pierced through the buy zone. It has pierced through previously with this candle here with just the wick, but not the body. Okay, so the breakout didn't really happen. If the breakout happened with the body, it's more solid usually. Now, this one happened with just, we call it like a spike of the wick itself that gone out of there. So at this moment of time, it still looks like there are possibilities and probabilities for it to actually go all the way up to the 2.0350s area, as I've marked that whole range of this blue shaded area as your buy zone. So it is still within the buy zone. And I guess it has actually gone down, and it does actually depend on where your stop loss is as well. If you are still floating on your buy, that probably is what is happening to myself as well as various other traders, because we are sticking to our guns on the buy to the upside because of this pattern, because of it most importantly being in the buy zone. Okay, so if we go on to lower time frame, let's say the 4-hour time frame, we can see that that fall was quite significant. We had that fall from this area right here, let's say, all the way down here. That's 200 plus pips. But at this moment of time, looking at the most recent bearish body itself of the mother candle right there is 120 plus pips already. So that fall was triggered by various other factors as well. And what's important as well is that it has got some referral area to the left as well of where it could actually fall. If we look at the 4-hour as well, as I've also mentioned in the previous webinar, we have had the alert of resistant area right there. So you see how the opening price of that mother candle was actually at this resistant level as well, and then it went down and it had mother candles here, it had mother candles here. So it's only natural to experience that fall to the downside. So what would most probably happen from now on is we need to look into the 1-hour chart as well and look at what is to expect in the shortest term as well. So as we can see, if you look at the shortest term, this is for Gbp Nzd on the 1-hour chart. Price wise, when you look to the right, it is very close to the 9700 area, which is a psychological level. Now we need to look to the left and look at what could potentially happen. Of course, we've got a support right there. That support area right there is really close in within the psych numbers area as well. So what that means is that there may be a potential reversal as well. So here, if we go on to, if we insert the RSI and draw trend lines on it, we might get a better idea. So here, for example, if I have put the Gbp Nzd 1 hour chart and then apply the RSI on it, you can actually see that if I draw trend lines as well, if I draw trend line, let's say this trend line right here, upward trend line, that shows me that it has broken the downside, broken that upward trend line, and that means it's got lots of room to the downside. Then if I draw another line right here from the top, okay, the top trend line here, okay, there is still not yet broken this downtrend. Okay, this downward trend line, it hasn't broken it. That means the downtrend is still there. So there may be more movement expected to the downside. Okay, so what we can do then is also look at 4-hour chart and apply the same. You can apply both the stochastic as well to look at whether there is a chance of reversal right now. Okay, and also with the help of the RSI as well to draw the trend line to confirm that. So here, for example, there is still strong downtrend from the looks of it, okay, because it has broken that uptrend yellow line right there, right? And here, do we actually see any divergence, any sign on the 4-hour chart, any sign of divergence? So here, for example, let's say we've got one here. You see this high, it's a higher high. And this one here, it's a lower high. Okay. And then this one here is okay. Also, this part here, this one here is a higher low, okay, and then this part here is similar length roughly, okay. So there is a divergence, basically giving us hints that yes, there are a probability and possibility of a reversal taking place. So what we need to do now for Gbp Nzd is just to look at trend in general. Trend in general may be correction to the downside based on daily chart, but correction to the downside, but then overall it's still looking like strong to the upside. So this pattern right here, bullish ABCD, still remains solid, also because the price is still in within the buy zone. Okay, so now yes, it is correcting. So where would it possibly correct at? That's the most important thing. Now I see this area here, 9650, which is exactly at a psychological level, as well as a very big bullish mother candle right here, opening price exactly at that level as well. So that is a very likely place that it will actually fall to and then find support to go up. So at this moment of time, yes, you're experiencing, floating and a bit of a loss with regards to Gbp Nzd may be correcting. This is a correction most probably. If we go into the weekly chart as well, you can see we've got the governance of very strong bullish candle all over this area as well, and that still remains very strong. This bullish area zone was actually spotted based on this bullish candle that was about almost 700 pips in length in its body. So hence the reason I've made that as your bullish zone. And this is where we are referring this bullish buy zone to that 700 pips candle length right there. Okay, So this is basically it. And we can see that this is what's happening at the moment for GBP Nzd. So for those who are buying, hasn't closed it yet, it is in loss at this moment of time. It's only natural to look at loss and maybe just another 40, almost 50 plus pips more that it would actually go down. So you would experience another 50 plus pips or so. I wouldn't think it would be more than that. Maybe not more than 60 pips. 50 plus pips would probably be the area that you would experience losses still, and then very likely to find reversal at that area right there. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. So if it does actually go beyond 70, it'll go beyond, let's say, 60 pips and a little bit beyond, then it probably be better to close that. But we also have this area right here, 9498 area as your support. So perhaps to hang on to that until it goes below this red area if anything happens. But I see that the possibility of that happening is quite low for it to go down all the way here, because the trend is still to the upside, and it's actually reasonably strong to the upside for GBP. So hence the reason we want to go back to fundamental later on, to look at the news, as well as to look at heat maps and various other tools to just make sure that GBP across the board is really strong as well. I mean, in the medium long term, but as of now, it is experiencing some correction based on various other things. So we will check that on the news later on to what may have triggered the fall of GBP, and just to know whether or not it will last. How long would it actually last? Okay, roughly. Okay, any questions on GBP NZD before we go on to, I think we should go on to GBP AUD, GBP and USD as well, just for those who have actually traded it and got some trade signals, or triggered their trade signals. Okay, any questions on GBP NZD? All good? Okay, I'll move on to GBP USD then. Okay, all right. So let's see. Hi, Alfred. What does no mean? You want to go back to GBP NZD? No questions. Okay, that's clear. Okay, so let's go to GBP USD. All right. So here, for example, GBP USD, we are looking at, I'm looking at the monthly chart straight away, and what we could notice, as I've also mentioned on Monday, this resistant area remains still very strong, and we are in a bullish, in a bearish, not bullish, but bearish, sell zone. So I'm going to change that here. Okay, so this is GBP USD that we're looking at. 1.4476, or we could say that it's at the 14480 psychological level at the top here, and at the bottom here we're looking at 1.3314 area. Okay, so that this bearish sell zone, I got it from the weekly chart at this length of this body right here, as you can see. Now this is quite a strong sell zone also, because not only we referred to this bearish mother candle right here, it is also worth about, let's say, in terms of pips, 1,000 plus pips. Okay, 1,170, almost 1,180 pips. That's really big, right? But the other factor that makes this a very strong selling zone is also because of the nature of this mother candle here. The wick is really long to the upside, so it's actually protecting the bears on the upside, so that it's telling us that it's really exhausted on the upside. So the upside beyond this area, it's really weak, okay, to the upside. That means the bulls have actually exhausted a lot. So there's no buying power at this area here so far, okay. So that is basically a sort of limit to tell us that, it is favoring or biased to the downside. Also, in within the selling zone, we have got this very strong bearish movement right here, triggered by this resistant area. So this resistant area has caused the price to fall all the way down to 2000 plus pips, and then gone down even more. Okay, so that is a significant drop right here in within. So what it's trying to tell us is that it's really very, very strong bears dominance and bears territory. This is all the selling territory here, which is very strong. And then what has added the strength of the bears as well is this one here. So this here is another resistance here, made following and copying this area right here, and everything is in within the sell zone. And the other thing that is making it even stronger for a sell zone and also resistance, and then more sellers may come in, is because of this double top that is happening right now. Okay, this is considered sort of like a double top. It's not really a high probability double top, but it is giving us the hint that the bears are dominant again. Okay, so we've got all this one here is called a rail track pattern. When we come into knowing about candlestick pattern, not chart patterns. Chart patterns are all the head and shoulders, double top, geometric pattern. These are all categorized under chart patterns. But then when you have got candles like pin bar, hanging man, and all these ones, and this one here is called a rail track. This is actually a reversal candle pattern. Okay, reversal. That means it has gone up, then most probably we are expecting a fall here. Okay, so this is basically what is happening. And GBP USD is trading at 1.3850s area. So we want to look at the sell side of it, right? So if you want to look at the sell side of it, I would suggest that this is based on the monthly chart, of course, but then it gives me a hint that the opening price of a nice mother candle only starts a little bit lower, and it started at this area right here. Okay, and that is priced at 3757. So it shows that if we want to ride along the trend to go down, and it will be a bigger fall, will actually be lower at the 3750s area. Now we are still quite high, 3850 area. So I would think about 100 pips or so. If it does actually fall more, it could actually fall much, much more. So then I would think even more news would actually come in. Okay, so this is just a plan for what could actually happen, where the location of better selling price could be. So what is left for us now between 3850 and 3750 is this area, whether or not we should actually trade or not, or what is the direction of that trade. So this is basically where we need to go lower, to the lower time frame, and look at what should we actually do now at this time for the short-term trade. Okay, so here, for example, as you can see, the bias is very much to the downside, mainly because of the selling territory that it is in. But let's say we go on to onto the 1 hour chart right here. Okay, it's quite unpredictable with the way that the three lines are moving. But then as you go to the 4 hour chart, you have got the three lines moving downwards. And then something else happened. The daily chart, not very clear. They are all trading in between the three lines as well. So not that clear, but monthly chart gives you that clarity, whereby, as I've mentioned earlier on, the sell could take place even lower, much better, much clearer. If you are on the 1 hour chart and you want to still trade GBP USD, because the trend is really not clear, but what you could actually do is perhaps the bias is still on the downside as well. If I go on the 30-minute chart, it looks like there's some exhaustion a little bit to the upside. But one thing that is really clear is this bearish candle right here. So there is a potential to the downside, and also of prices finding, this is for the shortest term that I'm looking at, right? So here we have got resistance. Change that to yellow so it's obvious, more clear. All right, there you go. Now we have got resistance basically. So you've got a selling zone right here. I would think from 3850 exactly, right down to 3800. So there is a sell type sell opportunity, but not yet happening until it reverses. So for the short-term trader at this moment of time, what you can actually do is to wait for GBP USD to reverse first. Okay, so is there a reversal that might actually happen? What we do is we go on to indicator, go on to stock oscillator, and see whether we've got some divergence going on. Now, right here, let's see, we've got on the 30 minutes chart, doesn't really show me there is a divergence actually. So yes, because you see this part here, that is a higher high, okay, and then here you've got a higher low, right? Okay, so the answer to that is yes, there is an expected reversal. Not just quite yet, but I think it would most probably take up on this as a challenge here to reverse at exactly the 3850s area, which is psychological level. And these two lines, it could actually reverse at anywhere between these two lines, between 3850 to 3854. So what you could actually then do is plan your sell later after it reverses. Don't do it right now because you need to confirm whether there is a reversal. Once a reversal happens, then you know that you can actually enter for a sell. And when you enter for a sell, it would actually be better at the 1.3840. So you can actually enter at 3840. You can see that's why I've always mentioned entry is not the most important thing, because like here, if you ask me whether you should enter or not, the answer to that is no, not yet, because it is better to wait until it reverses to confirm that it is about to reverse and it is actually having some sellers coming in. Because what happens is that if you enter your sell right now, and what if that is not confirmed that it's reversing there and then it shoots up because of something, maybe a fundamental or something. So it shoots up, correct, come down in this area and continue to go up. So that is where you will get trapped as well, because we also have a resistance at this level. So it could also go up and not reverse here, but reverse a little bit higher here. Okay, so that's why we want to firstly look at where it will reverse so that we know that that is the location of your selling opportunity. Okay, so we don't know whether it's here it reverses or there it reverses. Okay, so it's better to wait first until it reverses, and then you can then put your pending order. Okay, it's because it's sometimes the pending order is your entry, right? And the pending order as well should actually be upon confirmation, not to go into early with the pending order as well, because sometimes yes, it may not be triggered, but then it will be left there sometimes, and sometimes us as traders we may forget of the trades there, and then it may trigger at the wrong timing as well, and then it will put us into a difficult situation. Okay, so yeah, so I usually just monitor to wait and just to look at what do you call that, where it would actually trigger. So I would have a rough guess that it would trigger here. If not, then it would trigger most probably around there. Okay, so let it trigger first, because you see it's already weakening at this moment of time as well. Also because we have this support right here. Now this support could potentially be a resistant area. So let's say if it decides to actually come down faster and come under the 3.8 area, let's say 3.835, and then lower, then you know that it wants to really go down faster. So if it wants to go down faster, then whatever you do, your exit is really important. So your exit should actually be at 3.810, because 3.800 is where all this area is. Okay, so whatever it is, pay more attention to your exit, which you need to exit for the sell trade. You need to exit at 3.810. Okay, so this is for the short term for GBP USD. So let's see if it does reverse, and then once it reverses with a stronger candle as well to give us that confirmation, then yes, it would be good. Here it looks like it wants to exhaust itself with the buyers as well, because you see the wick is happening at the moment. Yes, we can, right after finishing this GBP USD. So you have any questions with GBP USD? No questions? Then we can go to your GBP JPY. No problem. No questions on GBP USD? All clear? Okay. All right. You have some selling opportunity here for the set for the GBP USD. So now let's get to GBP Jpy it was, right? Okay. All right, so let's take a look at GBP Jpy. GBP Jpy, it is price is trading at 152.90 area. Okay, it is the same as well with GBP USD. It's sort of locked the resistant area right here, and it's trading still in a bearish zone. Okay, very bearish zone in a way, right here. Okay, so I'll move this one here, this one, and this one here away. So now you can see on the monthly chart, it's got a limit right there. Okay, and here this is also a strong resistant area. I'm just going to mark the resistant area again with the wick as well. Okay, so we have got 156.14 right down to 154.87 area. That is your resistant area at this moment of time. But now it has already traded much lower than this area, meaning that it has got more bias to the downside. So as we look at the price going downwards, this is not a price to sell at this moment of time at 152.95. So your selling price should actually be lower than 152.80. So the price that we are looking at to enter a sell should actually be lower, and that should be at 152.70. So I'll just mark that 152.70 area. We'll use a purple line or something. 152.70. So I've got 152.70 here. Okay, so that would be a better ideal price to sell. When you sell there at 152.70, we want to look at various exit areas. You've got an exit area based on this bullish candle right there. Okay, just okay, got it there. So we've got all this wick as well, just respecting that area. That is at 150.98. So I think you have to adjust that to 151.10 as your exit. Okay, this is for the sell, by the way. Yeah, 151.10. 151.10. Just adjust that 151.10. Okay, 151.10. So under 151.10 will be 151.00. So your next entry point should actually be 150.90. So I'm going to put that purple line as well. 15090. Okay. So 15090, you can resell, again, sell for the second time to ride along. And then this area here, potentially your support, because this is the support of this candle right here. I'll change that to blue. So that points out at 148.46. So we take 148.50. So 148.60 is your exit price. Okay. 60. Oh, so that's your exit. Then when you want to sell again and ride along that candle there, you can sell again at 148.40. Okay, so that is basically it. But I think best is we focus on the one that we can focus on most recent first, and then as the price goes down, then we take it further. So on the 1 hour chart, for example, as I can see right here, what's obvious is it's looking at copying this area, this bullish candle right here. But beside this bullish candle, we have got this mother candle right here. So if it wants to reverse sooner, instead of reversing at the end of that mother candle, then it might reverse at 153.00 area. Okay, so you want to be careful with that. So at this moment of time, if you are on the buy for GBP Jpy on the shortest time frame, on the 1 hour chart, we can see this as our referral point. But we have to also be careful with this area of 15300, because it might reverse there. If it continues further, then it might want to reverse later at the end of this candle 153. It is still below 153. It's still at the 153 area, the early parts of 153 area, under 153.20. So with me, for me specifically, I think if I were to be on a buy, I would prefer to exit at 15290 probably, because it's really close to 153.00. So if you are thinking of just taking that risk, to exit there as well, because it could reverse at this area. Let's take a look at stochastic as well, whether we have got any signs of divergence. At this moment, it's got some divergence. You see, this is higher high, right? From the price now, this peak to the price now, it's sort of a upward slope. So from the same peak area to the price now, it's a downward slope. So there may be a sign of resistance quite close, okay, reversal to be quite close, because it's gone beyond this area. So it is now very close to that opening price of that mother candle right there as well. So it could reverse there, or it could reverse at this end of this bullish candle area. That this bullish candle itself, the length of it, not too bad. It's about 50 pips or so. Okay, so yeah, it has gone beyond that. So it has gone beyond this area here, which means that it's got some strength to the upside. But how much more strength? Maybe, you know, another couple of pips until it goes here to 153 here, or it could extend a little bit more and go there, basically. So this is short-term type trading anyway. But then the bias seems to be still On the downside, we are in the selling zone for based on longer time frames, of course, but that's where the data is most accurate in. So what that means is that yes, you will find burst of upward movement, but the upward movement may be limited, and it could actually be sort of a reversal type movement on the upside. So it may be reacting to news and stuff like that, but overall, the downtrend is strong. Okay, the downtrend is still there. You can see all these lower lows, lower highs, lower lows as well. So many peaks. This is on the daily chart, and it found another lower high right here. And then as it comes down lower, if it goes lower than this area right here, it has a high probability of really going down a lot more. Okay, so let's also check. Because for me on the monthly, it seems to be quite clear right here. And if we want to look at prices going up a lot more and then coming out of this 160.50 area, I don't see very clear upward type movement, meaning really bullish candles. We might have some, but it's higher right there. And that's the end of it. That's the end of the referral point. We don't have any more candles. We can scroll to the left. So all we have is here. And when we have it here, we see that, yes, we've got buy type movement, but not very high up there. What's showing is that we've got all this bearishness that is happening here with the power of bearish candle. So there's a lot more selling, I think, in within this zone because it is in the selling zone. Is that clear for GBP JPY? Is it okay? Any questions on GBP JPY? Okay, good. So yeah, that's basically what's happening. We will check on the fundamentals as well on GBP roughly just to get a bit of an idea. But as you can see, it's not giving us a lot of hints to the upside. It's tricking a lot of traders at the moment that it is correcting to the upside, maybe an upward trend because of the quality of the candle has burst up quite well, showing traders that there may be some movement to the upside. If you go, I mean, most of the traders, the ones that are trading short term and they want a very fast gain type traders, they are being shown that there is a rise in price and there is higher high, higher low and stuff like that. As they go into the 1 hour chart as well, they can see all this movement. They can see that, I mean, the classic theory of technical analysis will tell them that we are seeing a lot of bullishness and stuff like that. But as we go on to the monthly chart and longer time frame, it is not the case. It's not really confirming that there are great areas to actually buy, or there are some expectation of prices to go up a lot. So we don't know what's going on at this moment of time, but also because we are talking about GBP JPY. So if we're talking about GBP versus the JPY, JPY is a safe haven, and we have to link JPY's movement with the Delta variant and various other things that are happening in Asia, because then the JPY will absorb the risk as a safe haven. And this is very important to know that it will be the worse the cases are, the more the interest in buying the JPY. So if the interest of buying the JPY is higher, then it will force the GBP to actually fall. So this has to be connected. Hence the reason you're not seeing very clear picture of the trend as well. And it's like on a limbo at the moment, with especially with GBP JPY, because you're combining a pair with a safe haven as well. So that safe haven pair, which is JPY in this case, is data and news connected with risk events like the COVID Delta variant situation that is going on in Japan at this moment of time. So if we go on to here, let's say So can type Japan or Delta variant, and you type news. You've got 23 hours ago, 5 hours ago, on the Nikkei Asia website, coronavirus latest, Sydney extends lockdown 2 weeks. So we know the Australia site's really bad. Japanese government will support special flights for citizens. At the very top here, having eased virus control, Israel changes strategy. Okay, let's say we go and focus on the Japan economy. 4 hours ago, 2 hours ago, Japan's third quarter growth forecast cut as new pandemic curve. So you see that's the risk side of it, right? But Japan as a country, they're a safe haven as well. So when there's a crisis, their currency goes up. They sell all their shares, not all, but shares they select and all that, plan properly, and then have their cash coming into the country, so that naturally to pay all the damages and curb control and stuff like that. So that would most probably increase the Japanese yen's appreciation, okay, on the bullish side. So if we look into action Forex right here, just to get a bit of an idea, on the top mover side of it, still concentration on NZD. A lot of NZD buying has taken place. We don't see much JPY right here, but JPY right there. USD JPY right down here. Let's take a look at the heat map, probably giving us a bit of an idea. So overall, we have got dark red in one column. So everything is weakest against NZD. NZD seems to be really strong. Okay, so that is quite clear, quite nice to know that. And then we can always confirm the trend as well for NZD pairs onto the chart. So here we have got one very red one here on the euro versus GBP. So euro versus GBP really, really very weak. Euro is very weak against the GBP. GBP obviously is very strong against the euro. So let's take a look at UK, Britain economy. Okay, so 4 days, 5 days. Rebound slowed. Okay, but it's got a bit of rebound. Okay. 5 days ago. 2 days ago, UK corporate rush to invest as economy reopens. So this is a very, very positive actually on the UK side of it. So UK reopens. Digital economy agreement between Singapore and UK. 1 week ago, nervousness over here from 1 week ago, last week, it has already talked about UK economic recovery. That means the nervousness over the COVID has actually stopped, actually, in a way, right here. So then it's already hinted us from a week ago that the UK economy is recovering. And then we have this news here, UK corporate rush to invest as economy reopens. This is by report by Deloitte itself. So it's quite strong, actually. It's coming back. So let's also take a look at whether or not we have got any. Today is Wednesday, the 14th. So we see that it's driven by a lot of GBP data. So possibly when it actually gets announced, especially this one here, CPI, it's the Gbp Cpi that we need to look at. Now, the economy is reopening. Everything seems to be positive. So whether or not this CPI will be positive as well will actually be a very big positive for the UK. And this will actually rise the GBP as well. So hence the reason we want to be really careful as of today on how we trade. As of for the long term, long run, it is looking like it is bearish, but of course it will react on news today. So it most probably will react on news, but watch out on where you need to actually exit. Don't get overly excited with the bullishness and thinking that it is a long-term great uptrend for the GBP. So not yet, because also we want to be alert, aware that the GBP moves quite closely to gold as well. Okay, it's correlated to gold. And then we can see gold is also giving us signs of the resistance area. It does actually depend on other commodities, on US dollar especially. And we can see that it's creating a lot of wicks at the top as well. Not a very good sign because it might actually then see loads of resistance here. Too much resistance right here. It's already blocked its way to go up right there. So I want to correlate that with GBP as well. And then when we look at GBP pairs, we can see that it's not clear cut on the upside. On the 1 hour chart, we can see some buying power. We have got some buying power in terms of bullish candles and all that. But I must say that you need to be aware that where to actually exit. Okay, look to the left and look at resistance levels and buy in stages. Yes, you can buy in stages, riding on the news and things like that, but not to leave it and go and have great confidence that it will just remain to go up without looking to the left and then no stop loss. So we need to have stop losses. You need to still trade in stages if you can, and that would actually help preserve your capital a little bit better. Okay, all right, so that is for GBP USD. GBP JPY, sorry, earlier on. Any questions on GBP JPY so far? Okay. Yeah. Shall we take a look at GBP Nzd already and GBP JPY, GBP AUD for now or not? Let's see. We've covered this GBP AUD on Monday as well. It is flirting with 8610 area right there. It went right there and then it came back down a little bit. We're looking at the weekly chart right now. So the buy basically is expected to be at the 8610. If it has triggered, basically you are going through a little bit of a correction. Floating, not little bit, perhaps high, but it's got all this resistant area right now. So let us evaluate GBP AUD a little bit better. A little bit of room to the upside, yes. 8610, and then you have to exit at 8670, maximum 8670 to exit. If you want to exit earlier, as it goes up 8640, then you can re-enter later on. But the re-entry wouldn't be quite worthwhile because 8670 is your take profit area. Okay, because it's too close to the 8680, and also we have loads of resistance in that area, very powerful resistance as well. So at this stage, it has some room to go up, but the bias is still to the downside because we've got loads of powerful candles to the left. So I don't know about GBP per se, but from what I can see in the technical side of it, there may be some surprises coming in as negative news to actually pull down GBP, because from what I can see, the reflection of how candles are moving, the resistance areas, various time frame, various pairs, various crosses of GBP is all hinting the same thing, that it is maybe short, maybe not so much medium term upside, maybe short term upside, but then overall it's got bigger falls to expect. But do we have the catalyst or the fundamental to fuel that? Not yet. It hasn't come in yet because it is still marinating the positive news of UK recovery economically. So it is actually recovering economically, meaning that, people are going back to work. Factories are actually producing, productions are coming up. All these things and various other places that's been closed in different cities are opening up as well. Little shops and various things are, it's all moving as per normal in a way, or going into normality. So that is impacting people's feelings and sentiment to be more positive. So it's like us when we can actually go out and all that finally, and then see shops are open and you can actually literally buy things on your own and stuff like that. It's a positive feeling. So that sentiment usually is upon reaction of what is going on and what the government can allow. But what is coming, we don't know yet. Whether or not we've got other threats, other risk later on, we don't know that just yet. So we want to be careful with our GBP trades. I mean, for me personally, I want to be very careful with my GBP trades in particular, and it's a reflection of the gold trade as well. As you can see, gold and then GBP crosses, they are quite similar. They are correlated in a way. GBP in general, it's also having that kind of sentiment in gold as well. So we want to be careful. Okay. So we can also look at, earlier on we've looked at this Euro GBP. So it's probably best to also look at Euro GBP on the chart to see what exactly is going on. Now here, it is also hinting us of the weakness of Euro because of GBP strength, not because Euro is really doing bad or the Eurozone. It is picking up as well in its own pace, but then it looks like GBP is overtaking in terms of its strength. So that's why it's making the euro look really weak against the GBP. But this is quite a clear trend right here, according to the heat map. But let's take a look at euro GBP and see whether or not it might pose some nice trades right there. Euro GBP. Okay, there you go. So Euro GBP, this is on the 4-hour chart. A lot of higher, lower highs, lower lows. So obviously it is actually trading or trending to the downside a lot at this moment of time. Let's see. I want to always look at high time frame right here, see how well, what are the hints that I can actually get from a high time frame right here. Okay, so here, yes, it's got some room to the downside. As you can see, you've got some room there. The end of that bearish candle right there is here. Okay, and that is exactly at 84.62. Okay, so how far more? So we've got some fall. Let's say we're planning some fall. We've got some about 50 pips or so. It could potentially fall before it finds some support. It also has got some support right here. Maybe it wants to be supported or bounce up earlier. It could also bounce earlier at the 85.00 area. Now it's trading at 85.17 area under the 85.20 psychological level. So I see the potential of it ending right here, finding support either now or just at the 84.50s area. Okay, so close to 84.50s area could actually find its bounce upwards to the upside. So that is what we can get and see very clearly based on the monthly chart. So now as we go on to the daily chart, let's say it is very clear that it's strongly downwards movement, and we also get a little bit of a hint of where it could potentially reverse at the end here, okay, of the at the start of this bullish candle, this support area right here, and that is priced at 84.93. So that is quite close to 84.80s area. So that is another option of where price could potentially reverse and to go to the upside, or have got a little bit of a reversal thing for Euro GBP. Now let's also look at the stochastic oscillator and see whether or not we can find some divergence. So here, okay, we've got that peak, this peak, right? Um, it's quite clear on this one here. This peak is this area right here, and this is higher high, roughly, but then this is lower high, very drastic downwards movement right here. Okay, so that is hinting some potential reversal. Let's also use the RSI. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it's not very clear here. It hasn't really, that upward trend, it seems to have still broken there, but not very strongly. So based on stochastic, yes, it's got this reversal. There is a high chance of this being your reversal area at 84.93. Anywhere between 84.80 to 84.93 area could actually reverse. Only also because this is based on on the daily chart with quite a significant, almost 100 pips length of that candle right there. So it would most probably be respecting that area right there. If at all it wants to go a little bit earlier, it could actually go a little bit earlier here at the 8500 area. Okay, 85. So anywhere between 8500 right down to 8480, that could actually be a potential reversal of the Euro GBP. Now, how far, maybe what could potentially happen is that it reverses down here, and if at all there is a positive type news, then it would actually start to go up there as well, mainly because it might want to mirror that movement of that bullish candle. But overall, it goes up. It's got a limit to go up, and then the bias is still to the downside for Euro. Okay, maybe a correction. A correction is due, but then we need to not be overly excited with the correction, because it's only a correction, so it's temporary type movement. So you can actually ride along that as well, but make sure you look to the left and know that your limit to the buy side is the limited closing price of this mother candle right here. Okay, all right, so that's for Euro GBP. This is gold's prices at this moment of time. We'll take a look at UK oil and US oil as well, just very briefly, just to follow up on what's been going on. It is showing very clearly, this is the 4-hour chart, loads of resistance, too much resistance right there, a lot of wicks to the upside. The same goes for the daily chart as well. So it could potentially be heading to the downside as well. And you want to also monitor GBP. So the moment GBP falls, I think we will actually see gold as well. And then it will be US strength as well. So we've got a triangular type analysis between gold's correlation with UK, with GBP, and then GBP, and then what goes on in the US as well. So USD, GBP, and gold. So it's correlated to, is positively correlated to GBP most of the times, but then it's negatively correlated to USD. Okay, most of the time. So yes, that's basically it. Any questions at all, guys? Anything at all? Any questions? All good so far? Inflation rate increase, yes. So that would be positive for the USD. No, if inflation goes up, basically you inflate the economy. So you inflate the economy, you inflate everything, confidence and everything as well. You inflate spending and money flows and everything. So inflation is positive, not in the economic sense, but then it's going to cause it to go up. Yeah, it's negatively correlated to the stocks for now, for the first phase, and then after that, it will go up. Yeah, but it is negatively correlated to the stocks. So yeah, stocks, when you say stocks, it's a very broad area. You've got the US 30, you've got technology stocks, you've got all kind, and you need to see it as an overall. So the top 100 stocks, it has its breakout of how it works, but then inflation usually it's just going to cause the US to be on the upside. So here, if we go on to heat map itself, on USD, it's looking very mixed, right? Not very clear. But then it does actually depend on how strong the news is and how is it going to be impacting things that are going on. So what's important as well to look out for is what are the US important data as of today. And I think it's the Federal Powell speech, very important today. That might be the deciding factor of what is going on in the US. So we have to wait for that in the US Open. So it says here Federal Chair Powell testifies. Okay, so if we put it down here, it sent cautious message in line with the bank's minutes. So signs that inflation is indeed transitory may also soften his message. So the investor and trader group is actually waiting for his speech at this moment of time to really confirm the status of inflation. So that's why it's not really moving too much yet until that speech. So that speech would actually be deciding a lot on gold's prices as well. Yeah, this is a very important one, especially his speech today is the one's going to be deciding on the action plan by the US on inflation status and everything else, basically. So it's a very important, big one to look out for. So hence the reason it's also showing very clearly all these USD pairs, you see. So all these major pairs, it's just, it went up a lot, let's say against CHF, but then now slow down a little bit, it is sort of not, see, it goes sideways right there, and various others as well. So let's very quickly, let's look at Euro USD. Give me a second. GBP. This is USD CHF. I'll get rid of this one here. USD CHF. USD. Yeah. So Euro is looking predominantly weak against the USD as of now. And then it shows that it's picking up as well. So it's a limbo. We don't know that yet. So a lot of people are being a little bit cautious at this moment of time when you're trading USD or wanting to know the USD strength, not just yet until the Powell testimony comes out today, his speech about the inflation especially, and that could actually be very impactful, I would think. Okay, because they're all waiting for that at this moment of time. Stocks companies as well, when the inflation rate and all that, it does actually impact stocks, impact everything, shares, prices, everything else. Okay, all right, any questions? All good so far? So we can monitor the Gbp Nzd as well. It's looking not too bad. It is correcting. Okay. Euro GBP, whether it will find support or not. Oil, UK oil. This is for UK oil. Right, we've got some area to watch out for. If those who are buying or interested in buying, just be very careful with the 7600 area. So whatever you do, probably best to exit at 75.90 for now. and then we look at further improvement of oil and then re-enter the buy. But it is a risky time, a risky part as well, because we have got the announcement by Powell as well. We just don't want anything to rock anything at this moment of time. So it's better to exit at 75.90 at least, or exit now, just so that we are clear on the oil side of it. Okay, this is for UK oil. Where did the US oil go? Okay, so US oil, I have laid out that area. It has gone so far past that area of resistance a little bit, but we are still in the buy zone, limited buy zone, at the 80 area. So whatever you do, basically you want to exit under the 80 area. Okay, so that is for the buying side of it. But at this moment of time, it's still looking like it's on stall. It's more or less like the UK as well, unless you want to exit now and re-enter later on. So your re-entry price could be at 74.60. You can do a pending order on 74.60, but at this moment of time, it's probably best for us not to do anything, or best to exit. But if you are already, in profit for your buy, best to exit right now if you haven't done so, and then your re-entry price 74.60 and above. Okay, so this is where we want to be very careful with the oil prices, because of the testimony on the US side of it. It does actually impact oil as well prices, because transactions are done in US dollar. So the inflation that will be announced will actually impact USD rates. So USD rates will impact all transactions in US dollar, including oil. 80+% of oil's transaction is made in US dollar. Okay, so I want to be very careful with that. Okay, no questions, guys. If no questions, we can end the session for today. Any questions at all? You guys okay? No questions? All good? All right. Thank you, Alfred. Okay, thank you, guys. So I'll end the session for today. And any questions, you can direct DM me. You can DM me, and we'll speak again later on. So we'll meet again on Friday in Friday's session, the Friday's market wrap up by Bretton. So we'll see you then. Take care. Thank you very much, and happy pipping. Bye bye, guys.